Hello, 5th graders. Welcome to lesson 1.6, Exponent Multiplication Patterns. Let's get started. Today's objective is I can apply exponents to multiplication patterns by evaluating them in equations with 100% accuracy in multiple attempts. Remember that this needs to be written in your digital math notebook. So go ahead and pause to do that now. Let's begin with an unlock the problem. It says, how close have you been to a bumblebee? The actual length of a queen bumblebee is about 20 millimeters. The photograph shows a part of a bee under a microscope at 20 times its actual size. What would the length of a bee appear to be at a magnification of 300 times its actual size? So I'm going to circle some numbers here. We're thinking about 20 millimeters and 300 times its size. We're going to start off by using a basic fact and a pattern. Our goal is to multiply 300 times 20. But we're going to get there a step at a time. We're going to start with 2 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6. So we know that 6 is going to be part of our answer. And now we're going to use our 10-to-1 relationships to make our numbers bigger, 1 0 at a time. So instead of 3, now I have 30. If I add a 0 onto the 30, I add a 0 onto the 6. Notice here that there's our exponent, 10 to the power of 1. The next thing we have is 300, which means we have 2 zeros, which means we have 10 to the power of 2, which means now we're going to need that 6 with 2 zeros, 600. 300 times 2 is 600. Now that we've gotten up to 300, we need to add a 2 to our 0 to our 20. So we have 3 times 2, this is our basic fact, and then times 10 times 100. So we take all those zeros and we lump them together into an exponent up to the power of 3. So we say 6 times 10 to the power of 3. So we pull out our 6, and then we say our 10 to the power of 3 would be 1, 2, 3 zeros. So that would be 6,000. So the length a bee would appear under this microscope would be 6,000 millimeters. What would the length of the bee be shown if it was shown at 10 times its actual size? Well, that should be easy because we multiplied 10 times its actual size. We did that right up here when we said 30 times 2, which remember was the same as 3 times 2 times 10 to the power of 1, because there's 1 0, and that gave us 60. Remember that on this page with the I icon, you're just watching me do math, so you didn't need to write any of this down. Great job! Now it's your turn to write some math down as you follow along with me in your digital math notebook. We're going to be using another example of a pattern with our exponents, adding a basic fact. Our goal is to be able to multiply 50 times 8,000. In order to do that, we're first going to start off with the numbers that are not zeros, the 5 and the 8. 5 times 8 is 40. Now this is kind of tricky because we have a 0 in 40. So that means we're always going to have an extra 0 in our answers because the answer to our basic fact also includes a 0. So we're going to take it one step up at a time, making the numbers bigger each time. So instead of 80, we're going to multiply by 800. So that means that now I should have 5 times 8 times 10 to the power of 2. So we start with 5 times 8 is 40, and then I need to add 2 more zeros because the 10 to the power of 2 is being multiplied. 1, 2. So that would be 4,000. Now we're going from 5 to 50, so we're adding another 0. So first we have 5 times 8, that's still 40, and then we have 10 to the power of 3. So we're going to add 1, 2, 3 extra zeros. So we have 40,000. Now we're going to go from 800 to 8,000, adding another group of zeros. So we still have 5 times 8, which is 40. Then we have 10 to the power of 4. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros, which is 400,000. Now this is kind of tricky because if we look at this 4, we might think, oh, I need 4 zeros, and I have 5. But that's because our basic fact also had a 0. So every time we have 1 extra 0. Pause now to type these numbers into your digital math notebook. Great job so far, 5th graders. It's time for our lesson activity. In our lesson activity, we're going to use mental math and our patterns with exponents to complete this pattern. The first one has 3 times 10 to the power of 1. Well, we're going to start off with that 3 because we need 3 times 10. So that's 3 and the 1. Then remember, the little exponent number tells us how many zeros that we need. So that would be 1, 0. So 3 times 10 to the power of 1 is 30. We'll do one more together. 3 times 1 is 3, and this time I need 2 zeros. 1, 2. So that one would be 300. Your job is to fill in this last box on your own. Remember to complete this in your digital math notebook. Great job, 5th graders. You're almost finished. When you've completed your notes in your digital math notebook and your exit slip, you'll be ready to meet with your teacher. Great job.